Hi there, Jeff here from the Wetsuit Centre, talking to you today about the Rip Curl Dawn Patrol 4-3 ladies wetsuit for summer and for spring and autumn of 2013. Basically, we have stocked the 4-3 this year, which is the thickness of the wetsuit, to offer an alternative for ladies that might feel the cold in summer or want something a bit more flexible in the sort of autumn and spring months. So I thought it would be worth doing a video on, and sort of 4-3s in general, but specifically the Dawn Patrol this time. Basically, to sort of run through the features of the suit and sort of the practical uses of a 4-3 and where a sort of a 4-3 wetsuit fits in terms of wetsuit thickness. So when we say 4-3, basically we're talking about the thickness of the neoprene on the wetsuit. So you might hear that a lot: 3-2, 4-3, 5-3, 6-5-4. It's basically referring to the thickness of the neoprene on various parts of the suit. The thickest part of the suit is always going to be around the core, sort of around the midriff, around this area, and a lot of the times around the legs as well, where you need less flexibility and more warmth. So this particular suit is a 4-3. So you've got 4 on the lower part of the body, and then you've got 3 on the upper part of the body, and that 3 mil just basically is there to give you more flex in the suit. So be a little bit more flexible, okay, where you need a lot of movement, where you got a lot of dynamic movement, which is your back, your shoulders, and a lot of the time around the crutch as well. They've started putting it in, and sometimes on certain panels of around the legs as well, so you can get your feet through a bit easier. So you often hear like 4-3s and then 5-4-3s as well, and again that just basically means it's usually 5 mil on the lower part of the body going into 4 and then into 3, so various panels of thickness basically. Okay, we have got another video on the Dawn Patrol, but just to sort of mention a few features of the Dawn Patrol wetsuit. It's basically what we call kind of an entry-level wetsuit, so at the cheaper end of the scale, but having said that, the still a lot of technical features in the suit, so by no means a cheap suit. And when we're sort of talking about entry level, which is basically at the bottom of the range. So in the summer you do tend to get some sort of cheaper suits because, you know, things like sealed seams and that kind of thing isn't as important. But in the winter it tends to be sort of like the Dawn Patrol as the start. So the Dawn Patrol, basically, as I say, entry level wetsuit. The seams on the suit are GBS, or we say glued and blind stitch seams, and basically what that means is the 2 pieces of neoprene are butted up together and then sewn halfway through here, and on the other side they're then glued shut. Basically seals the seams, which is really important in terms of keeping out water, and obviously if it keeps out water it's going to keep you warmer for longer. So the reason they have that in the Dawn Patrol is basically so it's like a winter or summer suit, keeps the water out, keeps you in the water for longer because you're not going to get as cold. And also the seams are kind of more lightweight as well because there's less stitching there basically. The suit itself is comprised of 2 different types of neoprene. You've got the really flexible E3 neoprene, which is the stuff that has got a really great reputation for flex in the upper part of the body. And then as you get to the midsection, it's kind of like the lower grade of neoprene, but having said that, it's still good quality neoprene, unlike some of the suits you might find in like supermarkets and that kind of thing. As I said before, you've got a lot of the sort of technical features that you'd expect in a good quality wetsuit. You've got the smooth skin panel, which keeps wind out of the wetsuit. You've got a Duraflex knee pads, which is basically a especially robust material on the knees. It's really important for people, especially when they're learning something like surfing, windsurfing, that kind of thing. You use your knees a lot, and they get a lot of abuse basically. So if you don't have that sort of material there, then typically the suit will wear through on the knee. Okay, around the back of the suit, all the seams are shaped very specifically. They're all sort of a lot of thoughts given into seam placement to make sure that any flexibility of the suit is not compromised, and also the seams fit with the shape of a lady's body as well. So sort of arced around the hip, arced on the leg and on the arms as well, basically, so it doesn't restrict flexibility and the seams don't pull tight. So all that kind of thing is considered in a good quality wetsuit, which is what you'd expect from someone like Rip Curl. This is a back zip wetsuit, and basically the zip is coming down the back here. It's got an adjustable Velcro neck. They've got a little piece of Velcro on this inside of the collar here as well, just so you can put the tab back down on itself and stop any baubbling on the wetsuit. It's got a lanyard here basically, which allows you to pull the suit up yourself. and that attaches to the actual zip on the outside. Now the zip itself is a PK zip, which is a very good quality, thick, robust zip, basically. It's non-corrosive, so it won't seize up or fall off or anything like that after a short amount of use. The back zip system goes quite far down, and the good thing about this suit, especially because it is an entry-level wetsuit, is underneath you've got a little back panel as well. And what they've cleverly done is attach that little lanyard or strap basically from the zip to the top of there as well, so you can kind of grab that and pull it up. You don't have to ask someone in the car park to reach down the back of your wetsuit. And that back panel basically just protects your body from any water that might flush through the neck or come in through the zip. Now the zip is specially treated to keep out water, but you know, you might get a bit of water through a zip. It's very hard to make the zip completely watertight. But instead of the water going to the suit, it's met with this back panel, which is a really good feature for a suit of this this sort of cost. Delving inside the suit, then you've got a thermal chest panel. And the good thing about this thermal chest panel on this suit is made of Rip Curl's flash dry lining. Now this flash dry lining is basically a really nice fluffy thermal material which stops heat leaving your body and being lost out through the neoprene. You can probably see that there. It's kind of fluffy, and basically what they've done is a standard polypro material which is then backcombed to create this fluffy effect. And what that fluffy effect does helps to insulate you better and keep you warmer, but also draws moisture out of the chest panel. And because it's kept on the fibres, it's pulled out onto the tips of the fibres, it dries very quickly as well. So typically this sort of panel will dry within about 15 minutes, which is fantastic because when you're putting the suit back on, at least your chest panel will be dry and be less uncomfortable to put back on. You get lots of things like taping around the seams, two different types of neoprene. You can see the E3 is the grey stuff there, and you can see the black panels are just the standard neoprene. So you can see, as I said before, you do get it around the ankles to get your feet in easier, around the crutch to give you a bit more movement in the sort of a groin area, and then also around the sort of top part of the suit is the majority of his E3 neoprene. So basically, a 4-3 Dawn Patrol, really fantastic wetsuit. Now what I said before about where a 4-3 sort of sits. Now in the UK, in the winter we have to wear 5-4s, 6-4s, you know, unless you've got a really good tolerance for the cold, because the water gets down to, you know, like 6 degrees, 7 degrees in some places. It gets even lower. So it's really important to have, you know, a good thick suit if you're going to be surfing in winter time. But as I said before, you do have the 4-3. Now a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll use a 4-3 for kind of autumn and spring sort of times where the water's starting to warm up or cool down a bit. You need a bit more thickness than a 3-2, which is like typically a summer suit in the UK, but you might want to use the 4-3 through the summer as well. That's what I would say, is, you know, the 4-3 is a great option because in the UK, even in the summer, the water never really gets above sort of 17 degrees, 18 degrees, which a lot of ladies, if they're sort of spending a lot of time in the water, do feel the cold. A lot of guys as well. So the 4-3 is a realistic option for those sort of people to keep warm in the summer months, and use this suit right through autumn, sort of springtime, and have it as a summer suit instead of the standard 3-2, because to be honest, in the UK you're never really going to get too hot in the water in summer unless you're wearing a really thick suit. So the 4-3 is a really good option for ladies that do feel the cold, and that's the Rip Curl Dawn Patrol.